are today in Magdala looking at Simon the Zealot. And this is a very good place to do this. The Zealots were those who rebelled against Rome, and this is one of the places where that happened. Flavius Josephus led the rebellion here in Rome, and he's over probably where the Franciscan area is with those big trees over there. That's the core archaeology of Magdala. And he says that he strengthened the northern wall of Magdala. And look what we have behind us here. The street is completely closed, just like the columns in our street over here near the synagogue. Here we found a second synagogue. That's the reason for this excavation a year ago. So, Simon the Zealot. Zealotry is a very long tradition in the Jewish people. At the time of Jesus, it was one of the main ones alongside the Sadducees, the Pharisees, and the Essenes. And the Zealots could express their zeal in two directions. One was political and the other was religious. Probably the best examples of religious zealotry would be Saul, who was trying to eliminate the Christians because they didn't conform to his understanding of what it was to be a Jew. And then we look at the political side. We have the revolt against Rome, but that has precedence in the revolt of the Maccabees against the Greeks, and it will continue with Bar Kokhba's revolution and another one in between in the early 1st century in Alexandria against oppression there. So we have a lot of waves of zealotry, and we have a spirit that continues through those waves in the people. And Simon is one of the most common names in Judaism in the 1st century alongside Joseph. 1 in every 6 boys apparently had those names. And why was that? Well, Simon and Joseph of the Maccabeans were the two greatest heroes who led the rebellion, and so patriotic families would easily call their boys Simon or Joseph. We have 2 Simons in the Apostles out of 12. And we have 8 Simons in the New Testament. So this is a very good indicator of that he is really a zealot. And was his zealotry religious or political or maybe merged? We don't know all the details. We actually know very little about Simon. His name only shows up in the list of the 12 apostles just before Judas in every occasion. What we can imagine is these zealots, according to Flavius Josephus, were really instrumental for the destruction of Jerusalem. If they didn't rebel like they did, it wouldn't have been destroyed. And the second thing is, he says that they were ready to die for the cause. They were ready to do violence for anybody. Death didn't mean anything to them. But maybe he wasn't the only zealot among the apostles. James and John wanted to call down fire on the Samaritan village when they refused to enter to Jesus. And Peter was ready to take out his sword, and Thomas said, "Let's go and die with him." And Jesus said, "Put away the sword." Imagine them at the Mount of Beatitudes listening to Jesus. Blessed are the poor in spirit. Blessed are the meek of heart. Blessed are the peacemakers. Blessed are those who suffer injustice for the sake of the kingdom. My kingdom is not of this world. These were all corrections to the zealotry mentality. And imagine Simon absorbing that, being transformed, changing his extremist mindset. Passion is a great thing. Jesus was filled with zeal for the Father's house. Going back to Isaiah with the prophecy of the future Messiah child to be born, it said the zeal of the Lord of hosts will accomplish this in Isaiah chapter 9. So here we have a great transformation, and we watch Jesus' zeal peak in Calvary. And he says his plan is accomplished, and he has said, "Father, forgive them, they don't know what they are doing." He gave up his life. What an experience for Simon, who would be so transformed that he would go out to different countries. The traditions vary on this, and he would die a martyr's death for the sake of the gospel. Have you read the letter by Simon the Zealot? That's a trick question. But come back and we'll talk about that in the second episode.